All right, good morning. This is Ashley Vaquero with the Office of Charter Schools. This is the February 10th Charter Schools Review Board meeting. I am going to take roll to establish a quorum. We are, this is a virtual meeting. Some of us are in person at DPI. If you are presenting or if you are attending remotely, all you need to do is unmute and you should be able to speak. All right, Stephen Gay. Bruce Friend. Rita Hare. Hilda Parlay.
Present.
Todd Godby. Todd, I think I saw you online. All right, Eric Sanchez. Bart Danielson.
Here.
Shelley Shope.
Here.
John Eldridge.
Here.
Alex Quigley.
Here.
All right.
I think Todd just unmuted. Todd, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. So that's 7. So we have a quorum and you may begin. We have Vice Chair Eldridge leading the meeting today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley, and welcome everybody to the February Charter School Review Board meeting. I'd like to start us off with a Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
Of
of the United States of
of
America
America
and
to the republic
For which
which
it
it
stands,
stands,
one nation,
under
under
God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty
and
and
justice.
justice for all.
Ms. Parlay, would you honor us with the salute to North Carolina flag?
Of course. I salute the flag of North Carolina and pledge to the old North State love, loyalty, and faith.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, board members, the ethics statement. We as board members are reminded that it is our duty to avoid conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflict of interest as we handle the work of the review board. Does any member of the review board know of any conflict of interest or of any appearance of conflict with respect to matters coming before us at this meeting? If so, please state them for the record. If during the course of the meeting you become aware of an actual or apparent conflict of interest, please bring the matter to the attention of the vice chair. It will then be your duty to abstain from participating in discussion on the matter and from voting on the matter. Do we have any reports of conflict of interest? Okay, not hearing any. The mission statement. The Charter Schools Review Board works to ensure the existence of high-quality charter schools in North Carolina. All right, moving on, we need to approve the February meeting agenda. It was sent to us via email. Do we have a motion to do so?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the February meeting agenda. Hilda Parlay.
All right, Hilda, thank you.
You're welcome.
Danielson seconds.
Thank you, Art. We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Approval of the January 25 meetings minutes. Those were also sent to us via email. Do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
This is Shelley Shope. I make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Shelley.
Bart Danielson seconds.
Bart, you're getting good at this. Thank you very much. We have a motion, a second. All in favor of approving the January meeting minutes, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, those also are approved. First thing we need to take a look at today is the approval of the revised 2025 meeting calendar.
This is Ms.
This was sent
Vaquero.
to us. Yeah.
Yeah, John, I was just gonna let you know that there's just 4 meetings that have been revised.
Okay,
To February, March, and April, I think actually are the only ones probably that have been moved to one-day meetings. So some minor revisions, just given the fact that we've already completed most of the renewals. So those are the changes. And it's also on eBoard. All of these materials are on eBoard.
Thank you. I just got your text thank you for reminding us of that and for that information. Knowing that, do we have a motion to accept the revised calendar schedule?
Mr. Chair, Hilda Parlay moves that we approve the revised 2025 meeting calendar for the board.
How about a second?
Bart Danielson here, seconding.
Thank you, Bart. Let's go ahead and do a roll call vote for this, Ashley.
Let's see. Hilda Parlay,
Approves.
Todd Godby,
Approve.
Eric Sanchez, Bart Danielson,
Aye.
Shelley Shope,
Aye.
John Eldridge,
Aye.
Alex Quigley.
Aye.
Oh, and I also, Stephen Gay, he's here now.
Aye.
All right, it passes.
Excellent. Thank you all. All right, let's go ahead and move right on to the OCS team.
Good morning, board. This is Julie Wetzel, OCS consultant. I have two amendment requests this morning, both of them from RTO schools. The first amendment request is from Go Big. They're requesting to relocate within 5 miles from their proposed location and decrease open enrollment. Normally, our office does approve requests within 5 miles, but they're also requesting a decrease to their enrollment. So we are bringing that to you this morning. Great opportunities and boundless innovations for girls is a K-8 public charter school approved to open in Mecklenburg County and is currently in the RTO process. They are the first all-girls STEM charter school and the second all-girl charter school in the state. Go Big's original opening date was August 2023. CSERB approved a 2-year delay in April 2024 to open in fall 25, serving K-2 students. They are requesting a relocation enrollment reduction, which CSERB must approve. They are requesting to relocate from their target zip code of 28217, initially identified in their charter application, to an adjacent zip code of 28208. The new zip code remains within the Mecklenburg County LEA, and their rationale is that they did not find any viable facility within their original zip code, despite longstanding attempts of their board members and commercial realtors. Alternatively, their board has identified a viable option in the adjacent zip code of 28208, and the proposed new zip code is 4.7 miles from the original zip code, and the facility under negotiation is 2.3 miles from the facility they were previously negotiating. Their relocation will impact enrollment, as what they're looking at only can accommodate 150 students. So you can see in the tables that their original projected student enrollment for the first year was 300, and the new enrollment request is for 150 students. There are some differences in the zip code demographics, higher percentage of Black or African American residents, higher percentage of Hispanic or Latino residents, and a lower median household income. So you can see those differences there. Their enrollment charts are included, so you can see what the impact will be. There is a budget update due to the requested enrollment decrease, and we have all the required documentation in our office. And we should have, I can't see who is online, but we should have Dr. Crystal Howe, the school leader, and the board chair, Michelle White, online to answer any questions this morning.
Thank you for that information. All right, board, do you have any questions for Go Big with this request? I do, if you don't mind. Yeah, keep it right there where it says projected student enrollment. So we're dropping from 300 to 150 in the first year. Is that because what's causing that drop of 150 students? Because it looks like the next year everything catches back up again.
Yeah, my understanding is, and if anybody from Go Big is online, they can also answer the question, is that where they're going to be in their first year can only accommodate 150 students.
Okay, so they're going to bounce to the original one in the year 2.
I don't believe, and Dr. Howe or Michelle, are you online?
Yes, we're both here. Thank you.
Can you
And
provide
Could you answer that?
clarification?
Could you take that?
yes, absolutely. This is Dr. Howe, and also, as mentioned, Michelle is here and a few other of our board members. And that's correct. The facility that we've identified, it after doing the walkthrough with our team, project management team, the architect, found that the capacity is 150 students. And so that's why we're requesting the enrollment decrease for year one, while simultaneously working to identify a permanent option that will allow us to proceed with our original projections.
So there's potentially two moves then, well, there's gonna be two moves then in 2 years.
Yes, that's correct. The hope is that there will be two moves, because that would mean that we would have identified a
Yeah.
great facility to call our permanent home. If not, though, this site is really special in that it allows us to start, but there is potential to use the surrounding area to perhaps put modulars if need be, or to further modify the existing structure to allow for the addition of some more classrooms. But that is not our hope. Our hope is that we find our permanent site.
Any other questions, board members?
So this is Hilda Pele. So you're confident that the other numbers will stay the same or greater?
I would say we are vibrantly hopeful and committed to to that as our goal, because our goal is to make this really unique, awesome program available to as many girls as we envisioned and as you supported us to do. So that is our commitment.
Thank you.
And if I could please add to that, as we've been working with our project management team, they have been very, very hopeful in the fact that they're able to find a permanent facility for us. They gave us the year of 2026, since we've been working with them for the past couple of years. And so, keeping in mind what the market is looking like, we have a few facilities that are possible options. There's just a lot of, things in the works to make sure that that becomes our permanent option. One being that we are approved to operate in this first year. We wanted to make sure that we were granted official approval to operate in 28208, so that we would be in compliance in receiving the signatures on our lease. So we just wanted to make sure that this is the last step before we are able to engage in all of the work that needs to be done for the permanent facility, the temporary facility.
Thank you.
This is John Eldridge again. So I see the money coming in. What I don't see is what the budget's going to look like for 150 students and what kind of payments going to be made for this lease. Is that further down? Like what the impact is to the budget? Okay.
I apologize. There should be an additional document that was submitted, which is the
Yeah, I just haven't seen it.
and
There it is. Yeah, there it is. There we go. See, okay. Thank you for pulling that up. All right, board members, any other questions, or are we at a place to make a recommendation?
This is Stephen Gay. Question: what's your current interest? Is that, since you have found are you gonna be able to fill your 150 slots? Do you feel to open?
that is a great question. We do feel that we will be able to fill those slots. We are currently at 37 applications, and our lottery will be mid-March. And we have been sharing preliminarily with families that 28208 is our target location. But as our board chair, Mrs. White, said, we have waited to give specific details regarding our address. It has helped, though, to be able to share that that is our desired starting location. So hopefully with confirmation, we'll be able to move full speed ahead and give the families that necessary detail of where we will be.
And board, we will, the Office of Charter Schools will also begin providing you with monthly ready to open reports on the schools we have remaining in the planning phase beginning next month. So you'll get updates on the facilities and the enrollment and anything else that might be a concern or pertinent.
So just what was the thought process in, and maybe I missed the explanation, but what was the thought process in not asking for another delay? Because is there, Ashley, this might be a question for you. Is there a fear that if they don't get to the minimum number required to open, is that could be detrimental on the charter itself?
Well, any RTO school is able to request a delay. So if, for example, Go Big decided, in a month or so that the enrollment is not looking where they, would like it to be, they could always come to you. Because this would be their third delay, they would come to the board, to your board. But we, for example, do have a request that you'll hear in just a second from a current RTO school, and this will be its third year delay request. For any first year delay, as a reminder, our office can approve that without bringing it to the board. But if it's further than a year delay, then those come to your board.
Thank you for that clarification. Any member of the board have any questions for the school at this time, or are we ready for a motion?
Shelley Shope, I'll make a motion to approve Go Big's request for a decrease enrollment to 150 students and for the relocation from 28217 to 28208.
And Hilda Parley seconds.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion about this? Okay, not hear any. Roll call.
All right, Stephen Gay,
Aye.
Hilda Parley,
Approve.
Todd Godby,
Aye.
Eric Sanchez. You gotta unmute.
Aye.
Bart Danielson,
Aye.
Shelley Shope,
Aye.
John Eldridge,
Aye.
Alex Quigley.
Aye.
Okay, that is approved. So Go Big will continue to work with you through RTO and on your new enrollment figures. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, our second request comes from another RTO school, from West Triangle High School. This is a request for a third delay. West Triangle High School is a 9 through 12 public charter school approved to open in Orange County and currently in the ready to open process. Their original opening date was August 2023. Our office approved a 1-year delay in January 23 to open in fall 2024. CSERB approved a 2-year delay in January 2024. They're requesting a third delay for August 2026, which must be approved by CSERB. Within the next paragraph, they explain their history, what's happened with their facility. In October 2022, West Triangle engaged with Hubrick Construction to build a facility on an 85-acre plot of land at Lawrence Road in Hillsborough, North Carolina. After 9 months of going through the rezoning process, the development team was denied by Orange County Board of Commissioners in June 23. In October 2023, they entered conversations with Hedgehog Holdings, owner of the Eno River Mill in downtown Hillsborough, the same location as Expedition School. They agreed upon a 24-year lease for 65,000 square feet of space. They requested a second delay to allow time for the appropriate development and upfit of the space. In late November 2024, Hedgehog Holdings notified West Triangle that they were terminating the lease, citing unexpected development costs and local constraints. The school has since been able to find an available temporary space in Orange County. They have been advised that it's not possible to obtain a temporary space in Orange County because of the zoning and permitting ordinances. They intended to keep diligently pursuing the facility options and may request a change of location in the coming months. They have engaged with a broker and facility search consultant with a target date of June 1st, 2025 to have a new facility arrangement made. And you can see that there are some changes in their projected enrollment charts, grade level and enrollment. We have received all the required documentation and and for their approval for a third delayed opening. And I believe we should have Joey Webb and Brandon Mitchell online to answer any questions.
Thank you. All right, board, do you have any questions for the school at this time? I do have one. I'll go ahead and get things started off. Man, this has been some sort of saga, I guess. What has the school been doing to continue to ensure interest in this high school with a student population? Because it seems like it's a moving target. So what efforts have been put in place to make sure that their students that are and families are still interested in this school?
Yeah, I appreciate the question, John, and appreciate also the time to be here today. Simply put, we have families that are continually, we get submissions onto our interest form every week. And we have had we have an articulation agreement with the Expedition School and Alamance Charter, and both schools have continued to push that narrative with their families. But it is a cycle of disappointment every time we have to go through a delay, and we're acknowledging that every time we go through it. We are forecasting those updates to families pretty early, but the interest level is still very high.
And it looks like you're starting, year one would be just 9th grade, which is what you're saying is the students that are coming from those articulation agreements for the most part.
Yeah, correct.
It's giving them a high school option as opposed to going back maybe to a traditional school.
Correct. And with a model alignment for both schools, academic model alignment.
I want to make sure that I'm reading the executive summary right and hearing this right. So we're on our third delay. It doesn't appear there's current prospects for facility. It's not allowed. You're not allowed to have, I guess, a temporary facility, and you're thinking about potentially leaving the area. Is that right, or am I missing something?
No, that's correct. If you look at the permitting table for Orange County and you look under the line, that's a table that gives a permitting by right for all use cases. If you look at the table for preparatory schools, there is no zoning condition that is permitted to operate a school by right. And so I've forecasted in our letter that we can expect that at some point in the next month or two, we'll come back with a change of location request. With this delay request, we're asking the board to give us some time to find a facility option by June 1st. We do have 5 leads, and we think a couple of them are compelling when we do make a location request in terms of how proximal they are to our original location. But we are asking for time to pursue a new option. All of this comes on the backs of Great Schools North Carolina providing a 2-year startup grant to the school to keep us moving in this direction.
Did you just receive that grant?
Yeah, it's a $350,000 commitment over 2 years.
Congratulations on that.
We hope.
And that's once the school's opened.
No, it comes in 3 installments.
Oh, so it's money right that can be used now?
There will be some portion of the money available on March 1st.
And what is it earmarked towards? Like, what is it for?
development. I mean, open, I mean, we're gonna have they're also providing facility consultants, 3 of which they've brought in and we've met with that are pretty prominent. They'll be working, they're gonna provide those resources. So it's both funding resources and consultation resources.
And what is the amount that they are charging of that 350,000 at this point?
They're not charging us anything.
Well, how much is being paid out of that grant?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
What you're saying, Joey, is that along with the grant comes consultants to help you find a location that's part of the grant, right? That's not going to cost you money from the grant. They come
Correct.
with the grant.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, that's a better explanation. Thanks.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
No problem.
Adjacent to.
So Joey, just putting all the cards out on the table then. So say by June 1st, a facility isn't located. What's the next step for West Triangle?
I think that it's likely that we would start moving in the direction of folding.
And I hope you guys, as hard as you guys have been working, I hope that is not the case.
Yeah, a good analogy that was given to me is that we have time to pursue one more option and also at the same time limit any damages to everybody that's been involved with supporting the school. So we're gonna, pardon the language, we're gonna fight like hell for the next 6 months. Again, we've got quite a few leads. We think some of them are very good and make a compelling argument to keep going. And we're very great. We've had so many people supporting this journey, and you know, the presence of great schools is just another support element. So our board is very thankful to everyone that's been a part of that, and there's a lot of people in this meeting that have been helpful. So we want another 6 months to keep going and then see where we are.
Is there any risk or anything if you were to fold, like with the grant or any of that money that you are using to have to pay it back or anything like that?
No, Great Schools has been advised. They're the ones that are really supporting us to keep going. So they know that, and it's an installment based grant. So they're giving us pieces of the funding over time. So we're safe under that condition.
And I'll say to the board, with Great Schools being involved, that's really reassuring.
Sure.
With regards to, like, I mean, when I summarized it before, that was my way of being very concerned. And I'm still hearing concern from the board, from the board chair, but from a standpoint of my vote and how I view this, with Great Schools being involved, that's much more reassuring.
And it should be kind of reassuring to the board of West Triangle as well that your original mission 3 years ago of trying to get the school up and running is still alive and well, because Great Schools wouldn't get behind you if it wasn't the case. So that's as Eric said, that's a good shot in the arm. Do we have any other questions or comments from members of the board regarding West Triangle's request for a third delay?
This is Serena. I'm curious what's different about your leads and your approach now than it has been previously that have led you to dead ends. Is it the consultants? Is it Great Schools? What do you feel is different?
I'll be fully transparent with you. It's location. It's the location change that we think is forthcoming. The permitting is much more open, and it's by right. So in every facility arrangement, I think you're all probably have experienced this. It's about traffic plans and DOT, and it's about local permitting, and it's about an ECOE. And we've been able to work around, you know, we had an approved traffic plan for every location we've been in. the county of Orange County is not going to be supportive of a charter school in any way possible. And so we think moving away from that into a place where there's permitting by right, we'll have a lot more success. However, we're really concerned about staying proximal to our original target area.
Let me ask that with regards to if you have to, if you have to choose a different area to be in, how does that impact your articulation agreements?
Pretty minimal, particularly when you think about where the students, in some cases, it would be better for students that go to both schools that we have articulation agreements with. TES, for example, is 50% kids from Durham. So if we were to move in the east direction, that would be beneficial to a pretty substantial amount. And then we do plan to provide busing. So there's a world where we send buses to those locations, with a later start time, something to keep those families engaged, and at the same time reward the commitment that both schools have provided us, and we're providing with them.
This is Alex. I originally wrote this charter. I'm no longer on the board, but my part of the vision of it was to not have all the students being articulated and to have an open enrollment high school that drew kids from multiple middle schools based on, this is a replication originally of Research Triangle, which has students from 40 different middle schools coming in to the school. My child graduated from there. And that was one of the kind of the key pieces, is that he was able to kind of, as a homeschooler, come into a new environment and meet students and not feel like all the students were from one school. I don't think that'll happen based on knowing what the size of the graduating class and looking at 200 for freshman enrollment. But I guess I would just want to hear from Joey is that, does that remain part of the vision? And there are very few, I want to say 4 standalone charter high schools in the state, Ashley. Raleigh Charter, Research, is there another? Cornerstone was, or Piedmont Classical?
Piedmont Classical.
I think that's
There's a
it.
couple, maybe, but yeah, not
Yeah,
many.
there's not many. So that was one of the innovation pieces here.
Yeah, we're very committed to that as a function of our school's identity. And we, I started a standalone high school in DC. We had kids from also 40 different K-8 and middle schools. And it is a really incredible opportunity to build community from a really diverse set of inputs. And we intend for that to be the case. The facets of our application are still very much intact when it comes to a weighted lottery and our commitment to bringing kids from all over the region to get to the school. And we do think that the absence of high school options for kids, particularly when they're landlocked by their zip codes, is it's a fundamental purpose for our school. So we want to stay committed to that.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments or questions for West Triangle and their request for a third delay? Okay, not hearing any. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Vice Chair, Hilda Parlay moves that we approve West Triangle High School's request for a third delay.
Do we have a second?
Stephen Gay, second.
All right, so any discussion? Okay, not hearing any. Ashley, roll call.
All right, Stephen Gay,
Aye.
Bruce Friend,
Aye.
Hilda Parlay,
Approves.
Todd Godby,
Aye.
Eric Sanchez.
Aye.
Bart Danielson,
Aye.
Shelley Shope,
Aye.
John Eldridge,
Aye.
Alex Quigley.
Aye.
Okay, so this is approved, and Mr. Webb, we will reach out to you about moving into the 2026 cohort for RTO.
Thank you, everybody.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Jenna.
Good morning, Jenna Cook with the Office of Charter Schools. Today, we have 3 schools here to present to you all updates. So just as a reminder to this board, in the 2023 renewal cycle, there were 4 schools that were given renewal stipulations by the state board. There was 1 school given stipulations by this board. And so we are just providing updates to those stipulations. Some of the schools will be here today. So we have Paul R. Brown Leadership Academy, Rocky Mount Preparatory, and Monroe Charter Academy here today. And then the other 2 schools, Zeka and Next Generation Academy, will be presenting to you all in the March meeting. And then the final school, I have the information on them, but they did close in September of 2024, Apprentice Academy High School. They were another school that was given stipulations, but chose to close. On the screen here, you'll see a summary of the progress. I've summarized the stipulations to the best of my ability. So essentially, the schools were required to have an approved improvement plan by this board. They were required to conduct leadership trainings, and all administrative and board members were required to attend those leadership trainings. They were required to provide teacher training on improving academic outcomes. The stipulations required that they meet or exceed growth in 2 of the 3 years of their renewal. So they all got 3-year renewals. They were required to have no financial compliance warnings and to be compliant with all legal requirements. So below, you'll see some bullet points about each school. We'll start with Paul R. Brown Leadership Academy. They're on page 2. So you can see that they did have an approved school improvement plan in August of 2023. Then below, you'll see the monitoring that the Office of Charter Schools has done, as well as updates that the schools have presented to you all as a board. They have entered the 2026 renewal cycle. So they've submitted their letter of intent to renewal and their self-study. Our office will be going on site in April of 2025. And then they were on financial noncompliance in January of 2024, but that was removed. It was just due to a late audit, but it has been since remitted. And so they have been removed from any financial noncompliance. The school has prepared a presentation for you all to update you on their progress. So I'll invite them to speak now.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jason Ray, the superintendent at Paul R. Brown Leadership Academy. First of all, I'd like to inform you who's in the room with me today. Present is 8 of our 9 board members. 1 board member is out having surgery today. Our Paul R. Brown Leadership teachers and staff are also in the room. And joining us online is Dr. Chico Caldwell, who's our consulting partner with 66 Executive Wellness. Having said that, the first slide of course, while we're being here today, is the updated Charter School Review Board on our progress with the mandated stipulations. We had to submit a 3-year plan, receive approval of that plan where we can move forward. And that happened in July 2023. We were given specific instructions on how to develop the plan that included research-based strategies to increase instruction outcomes for our students. And lastly, the plan had to be presented to the Charter School Review Board, and that was done and approved in August of 2023. Next slide, please. Here we kind of unpack the school improvement plan to ensure that we address all aspects of the requirements with the completion dates, if there's applicable to us. We broke it down in improvement plan A, where the 3-year plan designed to improve instructions and then address all the deficiencies identified by the Charter School Board. In Plan A Part 2, we had included specific research-based strategies to improve student outcomes, as I said before. And Plan A Part 3, we must present to the Charter School Board to get that school improvement plan approved. And then there was a Plan A Part 4, but it wasn't the case for us. We didn't have any financial outcomes when our school improvement plan was approved. You also see our focus for the next 3 years, doing what matters most. When you're under this type of pressure, you have a tendency to try to do everything. So we wanted to make sure that we did the things that matter most, and we had to make a conscious decision to do that. Next slide, please. So what you see in front of you is 2 emails that go out every morning to the staff and to our cadets about 4 o'clock. And it lists our school improvement goals. We wanted everybody in the building to understand what we're trying to accomplish and everybody moving in the right direction. You know, even though the same email go out every morning, most of the teachers open it up and read it anyway, because I told them one day I might put a monetary incentive in there for them, so they don't want to miss that. And even with the cadets, you know, the cadets ask questions like, what is the school improvement goals? What do those things mean? And that's a good thing when you have students asking about the school improvement goal. Next slide, please. Improvement plan. Plan B was the training. As mentioned before, all members of the school board of directors and the school leadership had to include training, 5 leadership training for the next 3 years. And then Plan B, Part 2, was all teachers and staff had to do the same, receive meaningful training that expected to increase student outcomes. So again, doing what matters most for the next 3 years. Next slide, please. This slide shows our board of directors training. We'll also provide updates to off the charter school every month. You see we did performance review training, governance training, understanding nieces, all those things that make the board stronger and better. And then we also have a school board retreat each year. So we did governing legal responsibilities, strategic planning, decision-making, financial oversight, and budget management, just to name a few on the slide. Next slide, please. This slide is our school teacher and staff training. We did a 3-day retreat to start the school year off. And then we unpacked our school improvement goals as a staff to understand those important things. We did the tipping point, the 5 basic human needs. We had a discussion on where are we now, how are we doing? And then we set up we had a session on sitting on the gold mine. So we figured if 90% of our staff give us their best 10, then we'll be in pretty good shape. And then of course we did some delving into our school improvement goal and keeping the stipulations front and center. So every year we look back at those and make sure we're tracking and doing what's possible to be successful. And then financial oversight and budget management. Again, our teachers and staff, we do training 2 days a week with on-site visits from our consulting partner with executive wellness coaching. Classroom walkthroughs are conducted Wednesday and Thursday with follow-up one-to-one discussion with the teachers and staff. And the superintendent has 1 hour one-to-one leadership alignment session with Dr. Caldwell every first and third Tuesday of the month. Next slide, please. Improvement plan C and D, academic outcomes and financial compliance. We wanted to ensure that we met these goals, but our SMART goals were aligned with these stipulations before we received the stipulations. So our SMART goal 1 was increase EOC, EOG proficiency scores by 5% and meet expected growth. And the stipulation was that we must meet academic growth through the last 3 years. And the same for Plan D, compliance with financial and legal requirements. You know, we identified, secure, and be responsible with our district resources to support education objectives in the district. So in other words, when we get our funding and our finances, we're going to use those things to ensure that we commit those resources to school improvement. Next slide, please. This is the snapshot of our EOG middle school math from 2022, 2023, and 2024. As you can see, we started out in 2022, EOG math, you know, we didn't meet it across the goals, but we did for 23 and 24. So those are our growth scores for EOG math, middle school, 22. Next slide, please. EOG reading, the same 22, 23, and 24. You see we met expected growth for all 3 of those years. Last school year we did lose both our ELA teachers and middle school ELA, but we also was able to be successful because attrition happens and we have to have a plan to expect that and be able to move forward and still be successful with that. Next slide, please. And these are high school EOC growth measures. We met all growth measures for high school in 22. 23, we did not meet it for Math 3, but we did meet it for 24 in all areas. Next slide, please. And this is our 3-year trend chart. We move from left to right is our overall achievement for EOCs and EOGs, and you have biology, English 2, math 1, math 3, total EOG scores, science 8, math course rigor, our graduation rates, ACT, overall achievement, growth, and then overall. If you recall, we talked about having extensions on our prerequisite courses for math 1, that you can see went from 0% to 41%. And even in math 3, when we had 50%, it was a small number of students. We had 6. But when we had 26 students in math 3, we scored 38%, which is pretty solid for math 3. And we're trying to get better in all areas. Same thing to go for English 2 and biology. We had good scores where the numbers were small, but now we're looking at biology with 51%. We had 26 students that take the biology test. So we're pleased about our prerequisite courses and how they're affecting and improving our scores across the board. Next slide, please. This is a snapshot of our 3-year trend from NCDPI designations, 21-22, the state designated low performance school, consistent low performing charter, and then federal was targeted, supported for improvement, and we consistently performed in economic disadvantaged students. 2023, we did drop one of those. We only had consistent low performing charter, and then we still maintained the TSI for federal. But in 23-24, we had no NCDPI stipulate designations. And our enrollment snapshot to the right, 21-22 was 109 students. 22-23, we went to 115. Last school year, we ended with 204, and our current enrollment is 222. Next slide, please. And ladies and gentlemen, opinion or questions, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you for that. And also want to thank, I remember when Paul R. Brown first came, it was you by yourself, and now it sounds like you got a whole crew behind you. And I'm sorry I'm not there to see you guys in person, but thanks for everyone's participation in your presentation today.
Sure.
Board members, do you guys have any feedback, questions for Paul R. Brown?
I'm impressed with the overall improvement.
I would concur. I think they stepped up to the plate and are rising to the challenge of, what we asked them to do. And just for what it's worth, very much enjoyed their participation last week in the summit as well.
Thank you, sir.
Any other comments? Okay, Jenna.
Okay. Next, we have Monroe Charter Academy. And so you can see their improvement plan was approved in September of 2023. And then their leadership trainings and teacher trainings, they should be able to speak to those today. They met growth in FY23, but did not meet growth in FY24. And then they have submitted their letter of intent to renew, and they have submitted their self-study for the 2026 renewal process. Their site visit is scheduled for March 5th. As far as the renewal process go, they are currently past due on submitting items for the renewal compliance check. So our team usually reviews those ahead of the meeting, and those were due in November and December. So they have not submitted those items yet. And then compliance-wise, you can see the list of items for compliance, as well as financial non-compliance. At the last time we presented them to you all, they were on probationary status, but they have since been removed from financial non-compliance. So at this time, if Monroe Charter Academy would like to give you their presentation.
Good morning. How's everyone doing?
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Good,
On
thank
the
you.
on this call with me, I have our board chair, Mr. Eric Hall, and I also have with me our chair of finance, Ms. Marcita Jeter. As we received our 3-year renewal with stipulations, we had to demonstrate growth in 2 out of 3 years. We had to submit our school improvement plan that consisted of board trainings, administration trainings, as also teacher trainings. We also had to make sure that we did not have any financial compliance warnings or any legal compliance. For our board trainings that we had last year leading into this year, we met all of our trainings. These dates that you see here is all the trainings that we have scheduled for this that we're currently have done and will continue to do throughout this school year. We've had, as far as the staff, CKLA Go math training, Title IX training, non-negotiables and moving with blinders on, MTSS, unpacking school improvement plan, iReady, unpacking standards, Level Up Reader, and also having weekly planning and data meetings. As far as with administration, we've also had the Title IX training, iReady from an administrator's perspective, school safety training, and then coming up would be a certificate in classical education philosophy, and we'll be attending core knowledge training over the summer. As far as our board, they've had training with Acadia in budget and financing. This Friday, they will have training with our attorney under governance and legal, educational law and policies. They will also have budget and finance in March. In April will be community engagement to ensure that we continue our partnership with the community and build upon that, as well as increasing our enrollment in students. In May, they'll have training with curriculum and instruction review, looking at the curriculum that we've provided this year with our data that we'll have hopefully by that time, and then looking into planning for the next year. And then in June will be a board retreat, which they will have with governance and legal. All right, looking at our academic growth, in 2003, we met growth in all Black EDS. We did not in reading, but we did in math. And then last year, we did not meet growth at all in any of those areas. We did show growth in reading, but we still did not meet the EVOS growth that was set for us. Next slide, please. And so taking that information over to summer, we came up with a game plan of how are we going to do things differently? What does that look like? And so some of the growth strategies is that we've partnered with ELLIS, Reaching All Minds. We have also increased our tutoring and intervention programs. We have 3 interventionists that are in the classrooms, pulling students out as well in 3rd through 7th grade in reading, math, and 5th grade science. We are also offering tutoring after school. We have 5 current staff members that are staying after school, providing an hour of tutoring 2 days a week. And then from there, they would go to our 21st CCLC, which is our free after school program, to receive additional tutoring and support, help with homework that they will need. We are also offering free transportation. We have 4 satellite stops. So for students that stay, we also provide transportation for them to get home. In addition, we currently have 41 students that are staying for after school that are also participating in the after school program. So we're excited about that with the collaboration of both. We have the implementation of Elevation to assist our EL students. We do not have a large population of EL students. We have approximately 19%. But we need to be able to meet them where they are and to grow them to that next level to assist. We have also enhanced our teacher coaching and professional development. So now everything is more intentional and more focused. For example, teachers are no longer allowed to use teacher paid teacher, all these other workshops and other worksheets that are out here. Everything is teacher made and is aligned to the standards that they taught and the curriculum that they've taught in the classroom. Because it's not that our students don't know the instruction, it's just that they don't know how to apply it to the way that the questions are being asked on the integrate test. Being transparent with our teachers, with our students, and with the families. We're also building stamina with our students. A lot of them get tired, you know, they want everything so fast. but also building up the stamina with them. Next slide, please. As far as our NWEA growth, for beginning of year to middle of year, personal growth column, it is what each student had for their own personal goal that was set for them individually. And then growth is if they grew even 1 point. And as you see, we are going in the right direction. We do have a couple of areas that we definitely need to focus on, which is 4th grade and 5th grade math, 4th grade reading, and 5th grade math, and 6th grade reading. As far as our 4th and 5th grade, we have handled that situation as those 2 teachers are no longer with us, just due to accountability. They didn't want to be pushed, and did not want to be a part of our vision. Next slide, please. As far as financial and legal compliance, as of December 17th, we were removed from the probationary financial compliance. We also increased our fund balance by $162,507 at the end of last year. As of June 30th, we ended at $201,804 in surplus. And we do not have any EC non-compliance. Next slide, please. Sorry, next slide. That was in there by mistake. And I do have a couple of other key points as far as our teachers and as far as where we are. We have a solid team this year. We had a few bumps in the road at the beginning of this year, but those teachers that weren't part of our vision and wanted to be successful for all of our children decided to weed themselves out by resigning. And then when they did that, we brought on more solid teachers through the help of Subsource, as well as recruiting ourselves. Laid it out as far as what we need, and everybody's on board and holding all students accountable, and they don't mind being held accountable as well. And that concludes my report.
Thank you for that. Board members, you guys have any questions for Dr. Ford and her group? I have one, Dr. Ford, just if
Yes.
you don't mind. I was actually able to come down and visit you.
Yes, sir.
Talk us through what your situation is right now at the location where you are.
Yes, so the situation that's going on right now, we're at oh Lord, I can't even think of the name of the church. But we're here presently. The challenges that we faced here was occupying a permanent certificate of occupancy. It was to the point where, number one, the city, when it came down to us obtaining it, they seemed to not even know what we were asking for. The guidelines that we needed to even be able to obtain it. Thank God that I have an amazing board that jumped on and started doing things and asking questions around for us to be able to obtain. At the end of August, they gave us a temporary certificate of occupancy, said it was only going to be for 3 months into October. We did everything on and beyond up until that point. I mean, any test, every test that they wanted, we did it. So what the holdup is that we have a well on campus. Where the well is located, according to code, it has to be 100 feet from the corner of the building. Where the well is, if you move, there is no place to move it except for over adjacent to another property, which is where another home is. We've passed every test. So every septic test, every well test, we've had cameras, we've did whatever test there is, and then some, we've passed everything. But only because of that code is what's holding everything up. So we have applied for an amendment, a variance. And we had to get our attorney involved because nobody was moving. Everybody was kind of like taking their time. So with our attorney getting involved, they have given us until the end of February of this year to get approval for the variance. So that's what we're waiting on, is for the variance to just give us the go ahead, and then we'll be able to obtain a permanent certificate of occupancy.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Board members, any other questions or comments that you'd like to make on this presentation?
This is Shelley Shope. Just a quick comment of congratulations and the presentation that we see today versus what we had seen historically. You can tell that you guys are moving and growing in the right direction.
Thank you.
Keep pushing forward. And you know, I love to hear you say when your teachers or someone's not on board with you, then you find someone else who is, and that's the way to hold people accountable and to really make that growth. And I commend you for that.
Thank you so much.
I also wanted to compliment you on building your fund balance while investing in your classrooms. I can see that you've done both, and that's really threading the needle, and that takes a lot of care and concern. So well done there.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there too. I did have a chance to visit the school and walk around and see all the kids in action with the teachers. It's a happy place. The kids are engaged, and the teachers seem to really be compassionate about their students. So I got to spend about a half a day out there and enjoyed it. So Dr. Brown, thank you, Dr. Ford. I appreciate all the work that you guys are doing down that way, and we'll see how things go. Okay.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, Jenna.
All right, and next we have Rocky Mount Prep. So like I said, Rocky Mount will present today, and then the other two stipulation schools will present to you all in March. But Rocky Mount had their improvement plan approved in September of 23. There you will present to you and give you an update on any leadership and teacher trainings. They have not met growth in the last 2 years. And then you can see their list of compliance for most items that they have had, that they have been closed. And then as far as the 2026 renewal process, they have submitted their letter of intent and their self-study. And we have a renewal site visit scheduled for April 9th at Rocky Mount Prep. So at this time, I will invite the board and leadership to give you their presentation.
We having some issues with sound, or?
We are looking into it.
Can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you now.
We apologize, but good morning. Again, thank you for having us this morning for our update. Joining me this morning is a few of our board members from Rocky Mount Prep, Mr. King Bradley, Ms. Jean Kitchen, Mr. Charles Davis, and our Director of Instruction this morning as well, Mr. William Etheridge. And so as you all can see from the PowerPoint in front of you, first slide, of course, is our stipulations in which Rocky Mount Prep had to achieve our school improvement plan, leadership and teacher training, academic growth standards, and then financial legal compliance. If you go to page 2, just want to take a few minutes to highlight that we have had instructional enhancements to our program, which include our weekly data meetings to analyze our scholar progress. We have, of course, implemented our AVID model with our gradual release of instruction and worked on increasing our academic rigor through our curriculum alignment. We did realize that, of course, we did miss our growth for last year by 4 points. We could have moved our letter grade up by 4 points. So we do understand and realize that what we had started, it is definitely working and requires just a little bit more time to see the manifestation of the investment that we are placing in our curriculum. But we are confident that what we are working on with our teachers and our staff is going to produce this year the numbers that we want to see. In addition, we have our intervention and our scholar support. So every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we do provide after-school tutoring for our scholars and transportation for them to go home so that their parents don't have to worry about coming to pick them up. We have added our MTS framework, and it has been successfully implemented in our K-5 arena, if you will, and we are looking to continue to develop that 6-8 and then 9-12. And we have made sure that our scholars have personal centered plans, if you will, for our struggling learners. There's that differentiation of instruction to make sure that they are receiving the skill sets that they need to improve in the class, apply the concepts, and then be able to translate what they do to the actual test and the EOG. One of the highlights that our teachers have found very helpful to them this year is the use of our NC check-ins and SchoolNet. Our teachers are utilizing SchoolNet to create their tests, their quizzes, which align to the end of grade tests so that our scholars are comfortable and familiar with the framework of the questions. They are not overwhelmed by the language and the vocabulary, but they are getting exposure to those items weekly. In addition, we have our ongoing monitoring, our quarterly progress evaluations, and then of course our benchmark assessments, which we do, and we break those down to, again, analyze the data, look at components that our scholars may be falling short on, and then reteach, relearn, or rework those models so that our scholars are competent in those areas. On Fridays, which is not listed in this plan, but on Fridays, we have reworked our entire day to serve as a rotating intervention day for our scholars that culminates the week. And so that has been successful. Our scholars have enjoyed the opportunity to review and relearn components of our curriculum and to give them a greater confidence in their testing, in their test-taking abilities. Next slide, please. For our teacher training, we have, well, let me start with our leadership training, excuse me. For our board training, we have focused on governance, finance, equity, and instructional leadership. We have had the pleasure of working with Superior Solutions, the Office of Charter Schools, Poinier and Sproul. Currently, we are working with Destiny Solutions on teacher efficacy, classroom management, further understanding, if you will, of how our board and our teams are to work together. For our teachers, we provide weekly training for professional development with focus on instructional best practices, student engagement, and data-driven instruction. We have our weekly coaching and our planning sessions for continuous improvement as well. Next slide. Our board has completed several trainings, our governance and our legal updates, our budget and finance training, which is provided by Prestige Now, our education and law policy, curriculum and instruction review, and community engagement. Our teacher highlights, of course, we do boast our weekly data meetings with our instructional coaches. The North Carolina New Teacher Support Program for our beginning teachers, which we are proud to partner with East Carolina University, that comes in again on a weekly basis, provides teacher observation, feedback, and monthly workshops for our beginning teachers. And then, of course, our ongoing classroom observations and our feedback cycles, which are in place for our teachers. Next slide. All right, so of course, our strategies are just the same, if you will. We're working towards ensuring that our scholars are meeting our end of grade tests and our EOC results. We realized that we needed some additional support in Math 1 and in Math 3, and we have added additional coaching to our Math 1 and our Math 3 in order to get those scholars over the hump. We work with our EVOS data to, again, break down our scholar-centered plans so that each scholar knows what they are specifically to work on and in order to achieve growth. We have increased our rigor and our standards in our curriculum. And again, we continue to infuse tutoring and training after school for not only our scholars and our teachers. Next slide. Our financial and legal compliance. We are excited that we don't have any financial compliance warnings to date. Our audits were completed successfully and submitted, and we consistently make budget adjustments for our school improvement priorities. Our legal compliance measures, we are fully compliant with our exceptional children's regulations. All of our disciplinary measures are intact and in order. And we continue to make sure that there are internal compliance checks done financially with our financial company Prestige, and we provide ongoing training and support for any matters that may arise. Next slide. Couple of our successes. We are excited that our scholars are engaged, and we are seeing a growth in our check-ins. We have a strengthened leadership team and instructional training this year that has made growth possible for our scholars. The team that we have in place has been able to take an in-depth look at our curriculum, how it is utilized, the training that is needed for our teachers to be successful. And of course, we have streamlined our offerings to make sure that we are definitely aligned with SchoolNet, our benchmarks, and the end of grade testing. And of course, that our financial and legal compliances are maintained. Couple of the challenges, we continue to address ongoing learning, student gaps, post-pandemic, and attendance issues. Attendance is priority for us here at Rocky Mount Prep this year because a scholar that is not present is a scholar that cannot learn. And so we have taken extreme measures with our teachers, our parents, and even our school social worker to ensure that our scholars are coming to school on a daily basis. And we continue to make sure that our staff receives professional development, and we expand our community engagement and our parent involvement. Next slide. All right. Rocky Mount Prep is actively addressing all renewal stipulations. We are looking forward to our visit in April from the CSRB. Our school improvement plan is being fully implemented, and then of course our initiatives are on track as it pertains to leadership and teacher training, and we continue to look forward to the positive growth of our scholars and to remain compliant as we serve our community here in Rocky Mount. So that is my presentation, and I will take any questions at this time.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Board members, you've heard the presentation. Do we have any questions or comments?
Hey, John, this can you hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Bruce Friend, CSRB. I guess the question I have is that I heard them talk about the importance of students in attendance and putting a priority on that. Certainly would agree with that. Just a quick question: if are they having any challenges with staff attendance? Are they fully staffed, and staff attendance a challenge as well?
That is an
I
excellent
may
question.
be the only one, but I'm not.
So I am grateful to announce that this is the first year in, I want to say 4 years, that Rocky Mount Prep has been fully staffed. And that is exciting to have a qualified professional in every classroom. And so we are fully staffed in all of our subject matters. And staff attendance has done extremely well this year. Of course, we do face our challenges, of course, with the flu and the viruses that have definitely sparked in the last month or so. However, I can definitely say that this year versus last year, staff attendance has definitely been consistent across the board.
Any other questions, board?
I apologize, Ashley. I'm having some technical difficulties here. So yeah, thank you for jumping in. Are there any other questions or comments? All right, not hearing any. I guess Jenna, is there anything else from you?
Nope, nothing else from me, other than we will, Zeka and Next Generation will be before you all at the March meeting to give a similar update.
All right, I appreciate the 3 schools that were able to do presentations today, and we'll look forward to that conversation about how renewals look in the future. Thank you. So we're a little ahead. Do you want to go ahead and take a 10-minute break until 10:30?
That works, yeah. So we will reconvene at 10:30, everyone.
Yep, thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, I believe we are back up and streaming. Let's see, it looks like we have Jennifer Bennett up next with school business renewal updates before your final renewal votes. Jennifer, are you on?
I am. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you for being here, Jennifer.
Good morning, everybody. We will keep it very quick. This is a reminder, we review a lot of things during the year related to the financial aspects of all the charter schools. And again, I know this isn't related to people's renewal cycles, but in the area of finance, we view everybody under a one-year renewal. And so we are constantly looking at fiscal issues for any of our charter schools, no matter what stage they are in of their charters cycle. This is a quick summary. So we have received the audit for Durrell Academy 93V. There are no concerns in that audit report. And so they are no longer a concern. 07A Washington Montessori, we have not yet received the audit report, but we have a draft of their financial statements, have spoken with the auditor. Based on prior audit reports, we do not anticipate when we do get that audit report, which should be within the next week, that there will be any material fiscal concern indicators at that time, since that's really, they have a very healthy fund balance, healthy other than just having a late audit. From what we can tell, it's really just a timing situation and a staffing issue with the CPA firm, and not really a result of the school not providing information on time. So I have them up in the no fiscal concerns at this time. The Lakeside Charter, will go through those slides. We did get a revised audit report related to that lowered the rent situation, and I'll go through those slides in a minute. 61K provided a reasonable response with their audit report and findings. We will continue to follow up with them. 61T, the Movement Academy, did have 6 audit observations that will require follow-up, and we'll go through those slides in a minute. And we are still missing the audit reports for 32C, which was non-renewed at the last meeting. Go to the next one. Again, 93V, we really don't have any fiscal concerns at this time with that school. We can go on. Same with 07A, we expect that fund balance to be in that 1.2 million range once we have the audit report. They have a very steady ADM population, and they have not had any material audit findings in the past, and based on our conversation with the auditor, that should hold. So at this time, I wouldn't view them as needing their renewal held up for this one aspect. 61J Lakeside, we did get a revised audit report. They have that facility agreement, which changed it from a lease to a rental. It canceled the underpayment carry forward. It's about 25% of the facility. Their fund balance kind of goes up and down, I think mainly due to some facility capital concerns. Their expense overrun was explained and documented, mainly due to one-time items. We will have the school on our monitoring list just because of the audit findings and to see if they can stabilize that out. But we do have an audit report. It's just they have some related parties with that facility agreement, and it does take up a lot of charter schools have capital obligations that take a significant part of their operating funds. And go to the next one. 61K United. We did get the audit report. Their fund balance, you can see, is significantly dropped lower, but their ADM seems to be stable. It's really due to expenses exceeding revenues. They have responded to the corrective actions. They have submitted a revised budget so that they, which you can see on the next slide if you want to follow up to the next slide. They provided some follow-up for us, and they seem to be reasonable. We will be continuing to do follow-up monitoring with the school until the next audit cycle, and keep them in a cautionary warning status, just because of the fund balance decline, which appears to be one-time items. And the next slide shows you that they have revised their budget for this year. So we'll be trying to monitor some of that with them and work through some of that fiscal management this year with them. 61T, we did get the audit. It does have a high number of audit findings. If you want to move to the next, they have a healthy fund balance and a high student capacity. But the audit findings right now are a bit concerning in that they really just show not very good fiscal controls in place when you have incorrect classifications, employee payments not in compliance with contracts. We have EC teacher certification issue happening, some EC issues, which are always concerning. They are not meeting the 50% of certified teachers. And we know it's hard to find teachers, but 50% have to be certified under the law. And the account coding for the teachers is not correct, as well as some others. And those were just the main audit findings that kind of speak to other concerns related to fiscal management. So we will be keeping this school in a cautionary status and providing some follow-up monitoring. Because of these findings. And that was, those were the schools that we pushed to this next month. So I'm happy to take any follow-up questions.
Thanks again, Jennifer, for coming. This is John Eldridge. We appreciate this report. Can we go back up to the movement school real quick? Right there. So with findings like the things with EC, and this, I guess this came out. How is that found through the audit process, or was the EC department?
This is all findings from the audit report. So if they make it all the way through to the audit report, that's usually not a good sign because they typically would have had chances to correct a lot of that. I'll be definitely providing these audit findings up to our program staff, and our EC division will follow up with the school in more details. These audit findings, for my next step, we just got the audit report. So my next step is to provide these audit findings to our other divisions that may be impacted so that we can provide it with some programmatic monitoring reviews that need to take place. For instance, the certified teacher aspect, we'll send that down to Dr. Tom Tomlin's group related to teacher licensure and HR related. The EC findings will go to our EC division. The coding and just the fiscal elements there warrant desk reviews and probably an on-site visit for my staff this spring. As we continue to make sure that this school is moving in the right direction. So there will be follow-up related to that for this school. It's not follow-up that happens within a week type of situation. This is an ongoing monitoring type situation that we have to take with this school.
But it's likely to, that you answered my question with regard to other divisions getting involved, but it's likely that there are other things that may be uncovered once those visits occur.
Yes, and yes, I mean, maybe or maybe not, right? As I said, we view each school as a one-year school, right? Every year we view all of this stuff. We take it very seriously, and whether they're in a 10-year cycle, a 3-year cycle, or anything in between, for us, they're a one-year cycle. And it's our job to make these, whether this school was up for renewal or not, we would be bringing the school to your attention as a course of our reviewing their audit. And then we would be doing our due diligence afterwards to ensure that the school is fiscally sound and following appropriate financial management and compliance related procedures.
Thank you for that. Board members, any other questions for Jennifer and her report?
Hey, John, this is Bruce. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but there's a little bit of static, Bruce.
Okay, hopefully this
There
is
you go.
better.
That's better.
So I guess a question I have specific, since she mentioned, and thank you, Jennifer, for this report. Question I have specifically to Movement Freedom 61T and those various audit findings. I'm just curious, do you know, or are they doing all their financials in-house, or are they relying on an outside resource to help them with their financials or coding and all of that?
I think they do them in-house. They have 4 movement schools. So there's, I'm pretty sure they're doing it in-house. It's unusual for us to see this many fiscal type concerns when we're dealing with the outside accounting firms, so we have seen those. I do believe they're in-house. Like I said, we've just gotten the report, but we'll be having to follow up with them on these. We haven't seen, we typically don't see this array of financial findings. Incorrect classifications of expenditures is concerning. In employee payments not in compliance with contracts is concerning. Account coding just being incorrect means that we have to go back through our data to even know if we have appropriately accurately reported data that aligns with how the funds were expended, right? So we have a lot of work we have to now do on our side to go back through the financials and the data being provided to the state from the school. I would say we would probably then look at all the movement schools just because they're all handled similarly with the similar organizational structure.
Anyone else?
Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, not hearing anyone. Jennifer, again, thank you for your time this morning and for presenting this information. We'll look forward to some follow-up on some of these schools, but we appreciate your work in reporting to us. Thank you.
Sure, let me know if there's any other questions come up. We're happy to follow back up, but we'll be keeping you updated as we continue to go through the schools. Thanks,
All right,
everybody.
thank you. All right, I think as we move into the next portion of the agenda, we're going to be doing the renewals, and we're going to probably just do each school one at a time and just let Jenna kind of update us, remind us about where we were with these schools, and we'll vote on each one independently.
Okay, we'll start with Washington Montessori. They are a 10-year placement because they do have 3 years of academic comparability to their LEA, and they've met all the requirements for a 10-year renewal. So those are the updates I have for Washington Montessori.
And as we know with the tenure, that's a legislative decision. That's not something that we can correct whether we support it or not. But congratulations to Washington for the comparability. Do I have a motion for Washington Montessori's renewal?
Mr. Chair, Hilda Parlay approves the renewal, 10 years.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Do we have a second?
This is Bruce Friend. I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Friend. We have a motion and a second for a 10-year renewal for Washington Montessori. Let's go ahead and do a roll call vote. Ashley?
Stephen Gay, Stephen, are you on?
Yes, aye.
Oh, okay, thank you. Bruce Friend,
Aye.
Hilda Parlay,
Approve.
Todd Godby,
Aye.
Eric Sanchez,
Aye.
Bart Danielson,
Aye.
Shelley Shope,
Aye.
John Eldridge,
Aye.
Alex Quigley.
Aye.
Okay, congratulations. That's a 10-year renewal for Washington Montessori.
Congratulations.
All right, next is Doral Academy of North Carolina. They have also met the requirements for a 10-year renewal with 3 years of academic comparability and no known financial or compliance concerns.
Thank you. We have another 10-year renewal for Doral Academy. Do we have a motion to accept?
I would make that motion.
Thank you, Todd. Do we have a second?
Yeah, this is Bruce. I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Friend. We have a motion and a second for their 10-year renewal for Doral Academy. Ashley, roll call.
Stephen Gay,
Aye.
Bruce Friend,
Aye.
Hilda Parlay,
Approved.
Todd Godby,
Aye.
Eric Sanchez,
Aye.
Bart Danielson,
Aye.
Shelley Shope,
Aye.
John Eldridge,
Aye.
Alex Quigley.
Aye.
Okay, that is a 10-year for Doral.
Okay, next is Lakeside Charter Academy. So I do have representation from Lakeside, so their school leadership and their board are on the call in case you had any follow-up questions from their audit. But Lakeside has been placed at a 3-year. They have a 3-year placement. They have met growth in 1 out of the immediately preceding 3 years. They are currently continually low performing and do not have any years of academic comparability to their LEA. And then we don't know of any current compliance issues. And then you just saw a report from school business regarding their financial standing. And again, if you do have questions regarding their financial status, there are representation on this call.
Thank you, Jenna. All right, prior to any motion, do we have any discussion about Lakeside Charter Academy? All right, your silence means that there are no questions. So let's go ahead and entertain a motion for a 3-year renewal for Lakeside Charter Academy.
John, this is Bruce. I'm sorry, I was trying to navigate the the phone here a little bit.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Go ahead, Bruce.
Jenna said they have representation. I guess I'd offer up. I'd be willing to hear from the school very quickly if they have any final thoughts they want to share with us about the 3-year placement. If you're open to that.
Yeah, that'd be great. It looks like we have Wayne Muhammad. Are you willing to address this question, or is there somebody else that at Lakeside that wants to take this this opportunity to provide some remarks?
Sure, I can take the opportunity. Good morning, everyone. I am Wayne Muhammad, the principal at Lakeside Charter Academy. I began here, as I stated at the previous meeting, in May of this past year, and we're excited about the direction that we're headed with Lakeside. We do understand all of the concerns around Lakeside Charter Academy, but we are confident that we'll be moving forward in terms of putting the school in solid financial and academic footing. My experience as a charter school leader within National Heritage Academies for 9 years, as a turnaround school principal, as well as with KIPP, and the team that we've assembled, along with the support of our board, who have been very open and giving us a lot of latitude to do the things that we know need to be done to turn this school around. And so we're confident. We hope that the Charter School Review Board will support us in that and have that same level of confidence that we have. I wouldn't be here if I did not think it was absolutely possible that we could do this work. And we're excited about the work going forward. Ms. Edwards, our business manager and director of operations, and I, Ms. Sipe, our assistant principal, who's been here a while. So we're confident that we will produce the level of results that Lakeside has produced in the past and that you all expect from Lakeside.
Thank you for that, Wayne. We appreciate your comments.
Mr. Chair, Hilda Pauley is recusing.
Okay. Thank you for that. We'll make note. All right. Do we have any more questions for Lakeside? Bruce, go ahead.
No, I was just going to go ahead and make a motion to approve Lakeside for a 3-year charter renewal.
All right. We have a motion for a 3-year renewal. Do we have a second?
2 APs.
This is Shelley Shope. I'll second.
Shelley Shope with a second. Thank you very much. Ashley, roll call.
All right, Stephen Gay,
Aye.
Bruce Friend,
Aye.
Todd Godby,
Aye.
Eric Sanchez,
Aye.
Bart Danielson,
Aye.
Shelley Shope,
Aye.
John Eldridge,
Aye.
Alex Quigley.
Aye.
All right, that's a 3-year renewal for Lakeside Charter Academy. Thank you.
All right, next is Movement Freedom. They are also a 3-year placement. They do have 2 years of comparability to their LEA, but they are currently continuously low performing, which is what has placed them at that 3-year renewal guideline. And then you have also just heard a report from School Business on their financials. And so I will turn it over to you all.
Is there someone on this call for Movement?
I did not invite Movement. I only invited the schools that there were questions from the last one. So at the last meeting, we just didn't have Movements. We didn't have their audit in. So the schools that we didn't have their audit, I didn't invite. I just invited Lakeside and United Community School because there were more questions at the January meeting. So no, nobody is online.
Okay, so this audit, I don't know about everybody else, but this audit brings up a lot of questions for me. So I don't, unless, let's just open it up for discussion about what we want to do with this. Is this one that we want to make a recommendation for? Or do we need more information from the school regarding what's going on down there? That was a question for the board.
Yeah, I guess my question, John, is if we don't vote on it today, are we saying pushing it to a decision in March? And what would I mean, if we're not going to give it a 3, then the only other decision we're looking at is, and I guess a non-renewal, unless I'm not understanding correctly, but.
Yeah,
what else's thoughts are on that?
Yeah, this puts us kind of in a precarious situation, but I do think that the board of this school needs to give us some sort of explanation one way or the other, because these are some pretty intense findings that they need to work through.
Jenna, is there any reason we need to have a vote on this renewal in February, or could we push it to the March meeting?
No, you can push it to the March meeting.
Okay, so that's an option as well.
Well, let me ask you
Given-
this though, Ashley, to Bruce's point. If it doesn't get a 3-year renewal, the only option is non-renewal. What kind of situation does that put? Because the timeline gets really crunched in, doesn't it?
That's true. I guess the other information I will put out there is that they do have some pending amendments that they've been discussing bringing forward. So we could certainly ask that, I anticipate that they will be before you in any event to speak to those amendments. And that could also be an opportunity for you to hear from them and get some updates on how they're handling the audit findings.
And for the board, just something else I'll kick out there too. We just heard from a couple schools that had stipulations on them for their renewal. Is this a school that the Charter School Review Board would want to add something to if we're going to renew it with all these findings that are on their audit?
I think we've reserved that as an option for sure. I guess I don't feel like I have a good sense yet of exactly what those findings,
Exactly.
Additional things would be just yet. So I'm in favor of holding off and not casting a vote today.
Yeah,
I agree with
I would
Bruce.
concur with Bruce and Hilda. I think the school should be given the opportunity to address these things, but then I also think the school should be expected to address these things before we vote.
This wouldn't require any kind of motion or anything, right? We could just go ahead and push it to March. Is that correct, Ashley?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be able, we can just table it till March. Mhm.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and do that.
And then the final school for today is United Community School. They have been placed at a 3-year renewal. They have met growth in the immediately preceding 3 years, but they do not have academic comparability, and they are on the continuously low performing list, which is what has placed them at that 3-year renewal term. No known compliance issues, and then you just heard a report from school business regarding their financial standing. Again, I do have representation from United Community School on the call to answer any questions specifically regarding their finances in their audit if the board does have questions for them. And I will turn it over to you.
Well, we'll go ahead and do the same that we did for Lakeside. If there's representative from United that would like to just give some closing remarks or feedback to what they heard. And I'm not sure who that person would be.
I see Erica Hedgepeth is on the line, and I'm not sure if others.
Hi, this is Erica Hedgepeth.
Hi, Erica,
Can
did
you
you
hear
have
me?
any kind of, do you have any kind of closing remarks that you'd like to make on your behalf?
An email was sent on the 4th to Jennifer Bennett and Ashley Becerra, Jenica. So if you all read the email, like that explained the concerns. I know that one of the concerns had already been addressed at the November meeting when our board and leadership team came to the review board meeting. So that was still included in the concern, but it was already previously addressed. And then Tim Hedgepeth included a response about the SBA technical issue and just some like evidence of that. So that was already attached to the email. So if you all already saw that and you don't have any, I mean, I listened to everything. If you don't have any other follow-up questions after the email, then I don't have anything either, I guess.
If they do, are there any specific questions in for Erica, board members? Okay, thank you, Erica. And not hearing any, are we prepared to make a motion for United Community School?
And John, just to remind, this is for not recommendation.
The recommendation is a
placement.
3-year renewal.
3-year, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, the placement, not the recommendation, is for a 3-year renewal. So, do we have a motion for that placement?
Yeah, this is Bruce. I'll make a motion that they receive a 3-year renewal.
Hilda Purley seconds.
All right, thank you. Ashley, roll call.
Okay. Stephen Gay,
Aye.
Bruce Friend,
Aye.
Hilda Parlay,
Approved.
Todd Godby,
Aye.
Eric Sanchez,
Aye.
Bart Danielson, Bart,
Aye.
okay, thank you. Shelley Shope,
Aye.
John Eldridge,
Aye.
Alex Quigley.
Aye.
Okay, that is a 3-year for United Community School. And we will bring you back Movement Freedom, which will be your last renewal vote in March.
Thank you. On to the remote charter amendments.
All right, good morning again, Julie What's with the Office of Charter Schools. And next on the agenda, we have a remote charter amendment interviews. So just as a background, there was legislation passed in 2023. That legislation is uploaded on the e-board that allows currently operating charter schools to add a remote charter academy to their brick and mortar schools. Today, we have 2 schools that are requesting remote charter academies. We had a deadline of January 15th. 4 schools applied. We'll hear from 2 schools today, and then we'll hear from 2 schools in March. So our first school is going to be Stars Charter. And there is also a document on eBoard that outlines the process for the school's interviews. So the first 10 minutes, the school will have some slides to share with you regarding their proposed remote charter academy. You'll have some time for discussion. The school will have a closing statement. And then there will be a full deliberation and vote. So Ashley and I will keep track of time as the schools are presenting information to us and you are discussing. So I believe we should have representatives from Stars Charter on the line. And we do have some slides that they've shared with us.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Wes Granter. I'm the Executive Director at Stars Charter School. Just for housekeeping, will it be whenever I'm ready to go to the next slide, will I just let you know and then we'll go and proceed like that?
Yes, that works. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. So I'm going to do my best not to just read these to you. You all certainly capable of that. I've been at Stars since 2011. We're located in Bass, which if you don't know where that's at, don't worry. It's near Pinehurst. I don't golf either. So we're right here in the Sandhills. We've been on a great journey since I've been here. I've been very fortunate. Their story's kind of become my story. We've you guys don't get B pluses on the report cards, but we've had a B, 1 point away from an A for the last couple of years, exceeded growth. So we've done a really nice job. Very proud of all my teachers and everything that we've done. So we kind of come looking for this remote charter kind of from that place, as far as I think really doing a good job educationally with our school, so with our brick and mortar. So if you can go to the next slide, please. Just so you kind of understand, we are located in Moore County. We have 9 contiguous counties around us. I believe of the 9, I think it's very difficult to find out exactly who has the online schools just by basic searches, which was actually a good thing, as I kind of said, that's one of those things we need to look at as we hopefully, if we get granted this, is how to kind of make our search pop, because it was difficult to find the schools. But I believe 5 of them do not have virtual options, and these are the operating PSUs. The one Moore County, they do, and then I believe 4 other ones do. So for us, we certainly want to provide choice, as we always have, and then also options. And so for some of these counties that do not have options, we'd hopefully be one for them, as well as some of them don't have some of them are K-12, some of them are 9-12. So we will also offer maybe some different grade level options. So those are big things to us. For me, as the leader at STARS, I also want to offer opportunities for my teachers. So we want to learn, the best way to leverage the kind of online schooling, but I also want to be able to give my teachers different options. When we start this, we'll be fully dependent on the platform that we're using, but I would love to figure out a way to give my teachers different opportunities. In a charter school, you've only got so many opportunities. We've been fortunate; we've grown a lot, so there have been things that have occurred for our teachers that they could step into. But some people, they just want to stay in the classroom, and thank goodness. But they also want to change that opportunity sometimes. So they want to stay in the classroom, but is there something else? I feel like the remote charter, online learning, there is definitely a way to weave those things in there to create opportunities for our brick and mortar teachers. Next slide, please. Just real quickly, like I said, we'll be working with Edmentum, and they'll be our fully online platform. We'll have North Carolina certified teachers. We'll be able to check their certifications, accreditations, and everything like that before we get started each year. We'll be following the North Carolina instructional standards. So everything should line up very, very nicely for us as far as that goes. Next slide, please. And I think the big thing is this part right here for everybody. I mean, the asynchronous versus, and the synchronous. That's what a lot of parents, they want that control. And so sometimes that needs to be asynchronous, sorry. We learned this when we worked with a 4-day week, probably 4 or 5 years ago. When we switched, one of the things we heard from some parents very jokingly, but they were like, we really miss that control of having a 3-day weekend if we want to. So we knew then, obviously, that parents want that opportunity to chart their child's path and whatnot. And so we feel like working with Edmentum will do that, because we'll have plenty of opportunities live for those students to access language arts, social studies, math. So they'll have daily live opportunities to go over specifics with with their lessons. They'll also have live help options, which should not take long. 5 minutes is what we're told. If they need help, then they'll get a message from a teacher, and they can go back and forth about whatever the issue is. There's office hours for certain grade levels. So we feel like there's a lot of options for parents to determine the path that they want their child to go through in education. It's also, the platform will allow for our teachers to be able to really monitor the access that these students are using for our platform. They can check out how many times they've been in live sessions, how long they've been in live sessions. The courses will really pace the students, and in turn allow for our personnel to monitor and reach out when there are issues. So we like the customization. We like the control that it gives to parents and children to kind of make their own education, but we also like the opportunity that we can go in and see exactly what's happening. And then when we need to, if we need to, step in and assist. So next. Thank you. And so the learner profile is probably the same for everyone in many ways. For me, I think the biggest thing is the last one, when we're talking about supported by parents and staff. Obviously, parents, we know that the parents, they're going to be driving a lot of this as far as just, I mean, they're the ones that are going to be with their children. So they're going to have to stay in touch with them. But I think for us, the big thing will also be the staff that we're going to have assigned to this, because we'll have all the tools to see how a child is performing. We'll have the tools to see if they are accessing. We'll have the tools to really monitor them. So it's incumbent upon our folks to reach out to these students, to the parents, when an issue is occurring. When you have them in school in your brick and mortar every day, if a couple days You don't want that to happen, but you're going to have the student there. When you don't see the student, you really have to have a plan and a way to reach out, and not just a phone message or a text message or an email, a phone call, a Zoom call, something just like we're doing right now. That's really my expectation for my staff going forward, going into this, is that if you're going to be a part of this, you're really going to have to not just sort of settle for easy methods of communication. You know, if we have to go out there to their house, we've got to go out there to the house. We have to make phone calls, as I said, not to be repetitive, but that type of communication is super important. And I think that's kind of going to be the determinant for a lot of students and how successful they are in this type of setting. Next one, please. As I said, curriculum technology, certainly supply internet, laptops, all of those types of things. I think initially for us, the supplemental things that we'll have to provide will be in the area of exceptional education. If a student comes to us, then it will be our responsibility, not Edmentum's responsibility, to make sure obviously the IEP is correctly written for the type of education the student is receiving. Make sure it's followed, accommodations and everything such as that will certainly be followed by the Edmentum teachers, but any type of services that are needed will be on us. And so I think we'll have a heavy exceptional education presence in this, mostly because, number one, my teachers are used to reaching out. They're very good at calling folks. So that'll be important, but then also to serve any of the needs that might arise any students have. So let's see, in Office, and we utilize Office 365, so we'll have Teams and everything like such as that. So we'll have those types of online meetings already available to our students. Next and last one, please. And I wanted to close with this just to kind of, trying to apply for a remote charter. That's obviously a little bit of a change from education 20 or 30 years ago. And I feel like since for the last 10, 11 years, that's been one of our big things, is that we've tried different things. We have tried different schedules. We've tried the 4-day week. We now have a 4-day week where we alternate Fridays. They're half days, but the whole Friday is geared towards trying to do different things with students to kind of just make sure they are where they need to be. We do in-day tutoring, in-school tutoring. We don't want to do it after school. We want them here with the best teachers that we have, and we've tied all that together. So I say all that to say it seems very natural for us to try to figure out how to leverage the online schooling, because it's certainly going to be something that it's not going away. You see it in all the universities. My sons seen it in high school, feel like they're online more than they're in person, even though they're at an in-person school. So it's the wave of the future. And so I feel like we need to go ahead and access it and learn it so that we can figure out the best ways to help the students. And as I said in in the previous slide, also to provide opportunities for our teachers. So I think that kind of ties everything together as far as what we're looking to do. So any questions or anything such as that?
Thank you, Mr. Graham. Appreciate your presentation.
Yes, sir.
Board, do you guys have any questions for?
Hey, John, this is Bruce. Can you hear me okay?
I can, Bruce. Go for it.
I'm sorry, and I thank you for that presentation, and I apologize in advance if there's background noise. I'll try to step away from that. I have a few questions. Maybe I'll just throw them out and then you can kind of respond. I guess first I was curious as to, I think you're doing grades 4 through 9. So just what was the thinking behind those specific grades for your fully virtual academy? Second question would be around, is it your anticipation that you're only going to focus on students that are kind of in your geographic vicinity, or do you intend to grow it, or you might be enrolling students all over the state? Third question would be just clarification. Are the actual online instructors, are they going to be your staff, or is that part of what Edmentum is bringing to you as well? I'm sure I have more, but I'll stop with those three if I may.
No, you're fine. Let's see. No, my plan is, as far as service area, so to speak, would just be our county and our surrounding counties. I don't I feel like that makes the most sense. As I said, we know a few of the counties that don't really provide that option at this point. So I think that makes just the most sense for us to kind of stay just regional. I don't have any real desire to try to do a state thing. I think that would be huge. So I think this will be big enough for us. As far as the grade level, initially we're going to do 5. We did 4. We really kind of went back and forth going down to 3rd and encompassing testing grades. But we did 4, just feeling like that was age-wise the best, probably where you stop, where they're going to be able to access different things. We know our 3rd graders are just kind of getting used to laptops and things such as that when they're trying the BOG and the EOGs. So we just felt like 4th might be the best right there. 9th grade, I know that seems different. We did have a high school, and we're closing it out in the sense of brick and mortar high school this year. What we found was we were really, really good at grades 9 and 10. After that, we really had a lot of waning interest. And that, I think we're a school of the arts, and we have very good high schools that have wonderful arts programs. And I think our students, they were comfortable but they were ready by the time they hit 11th grade to kind of get on the big stage, so to speak, or bigger than what we had. And so we felt really good about 9 and 10. But we really had a hard time with anything after that. And so you would have a class of 3 kids or something like that, and you'd have a teacher in there, and it didn't make sense anymore. And so for us, 9th grade is because of that. We always had we felt like we have a group of parents that were always very interested in that 9th grade. And so it made sense to say, okay, 4 through 9. And then if they would like to go on to another place, which was kind of what our experience was in brick and mortar, then that would be the case. So hopefully that's a reasonable enough answer. And then as far as Edmentum's teachers, it will be their teachers. We will have, as I said, our big thing will be focusing initially on EC teachers, because we know that if we have any students that have an IEP or anything such as that those teachers will have to take care of whatever's written on that IEP, as well as, like I said, my EC teachers, whomever I kind of tab with this, they're so used to phone calls and that type of communication, and I feel like that's kind of a natural thing for them to be able to assist as far as reaching out to parents and things such as that.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate those answers. And definitely having someone on your campus that's also kind of responsible for overseeing that, if you're going to partner with Edmentum, that you're holding their feet to the fire too, to deliver on what they say they're going to do. Probably the only other thing I would add in there, and I think you're smart to have someone dedicated to the EC support that needs to be done online, but the testing and accountability part of this as well, and making sure your partner is fully prepared to test the students in a remote environment as well, and then pulling all of that out and setting up the in-person testing. And so that's all my questions for now. I'll defer to others.
Thank you. Anybody else on the board have questions for STARS?
I do.
Okay, Hilda.
If you have technical difficulties while students are going through lessons, will Edmentum offer IT support right away?
Yes. Like I said, that was one of my big things, actually, because it was actually not initially geared towards an IT question. That makes complete sense. Was what if they sit through a lesson and they don't understand it? How fast can they get help? And that's where, like, 5 minutes. And I said, 5 minutes. All right. And 5 minutes. So I feel like they're going to be true to that. I know that they've worked with a couple of PSUs, they being Edmentum, in North Carolina already. So I think they have a track record, and that's a good thing. But yes, they will be able to take care of any of those IT issues quickly. And then we'll also have the administrator for this school. He's very obviously when you're doing something like this, you're going to find people that kind of know that world, that online world. He's very good at that as well. So he'll he knows this will be his kind of dedicated position as well. And then we also have our IT person who, if it were something that were just ridiculous, that we could reach out to. But I feel like we'll have very quick help. Even if something happened where Edmentum couldn't be of assistance, we'll have people dedicated to that and ready to assist.
Good. It's great to know. Thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
So Edmentum is really broad. Are you guys using Apex, or what portion of Edmentum are you using, like the whole array?
Yeah, the Apex, I think they said Apex, and it's now courseware. But it's a K5's Calvert, and then I think 612 is, I think they purchased Apex and is now that. So we'll be utilizing the Calvert and that for their classes.
The ninth grade courses, I know they're through, I would imagine that they're going to be Apex. So I guess the standards for North Carolina and Math 1, English 9, does the board have to go through getting the approval to use those courses to get give credit to a student? Because they're not just North Carolina based courses, are they?
Well, I believe, and this will be something that you guys can certainly correct me if I'm wrong. They'll be taught by North Carolina teachers, North Carolina certified teachers, and then they would have to take the Math 1 EOG, or EOG, good grief, sorry, EOC, which would then give them the credit for that class. So I would think that would satisfy everything, but if I'm off, please tell me now. And then English.
I don't know that to be the case, because the only reason I ask is I know that not all these courses online are often based in other states, or not just in North Carolina. So
exactly, and so yeah, I'm sorry. Those classes are actually, when I was going through them the other day, they say North Carolina on them. So
awesome.
I think
Okay,
you're
good.
exactly right. Like there are ones that aren't, and then because that's what I actually asked KJ, the lady that I'm working with. I said, well, which ones do we choose? And she's like, they'll say North Carolina on them. So sorry, I wasn't clear on that. My fault.
Well, that may be why Apex is so friendly, is because you can actually pick by state which curriculum you want, which saves you having to get any authorization to use that kind of curriculum for a graduation requirement.
Right.
Any other questions from the board?
This is Bruce again too, and it's probably worth noting, just as a point of, just to make a note, they're talking about using Edmentum, which I think Edmentum already has a pretty strong foothold in North Carolina. I think they are unless something's changed, they're the backbone for the North Carolina Cyber Academy, which is one of the virtual academies that's been around for almost a decade now.
Yeah, they've been very helpful. I mean, it's been nice. Not that this matters, but the rep that I've been working with, as I said, she was the Johnston County virtual school principal, and so she's been really helpful as far as us going back and forth with different ideas as far as that world, and then being able to kind of bring that back to my folks and kind of our IT goals with this. So it's been a learning process, but one that they've definitely been supportive in.
Yeah, and this isn't really a question as much as a comment. So as someone who's running a both virtual and face virtual academy, just I just make sure, I'm sure you have, just make sure in your agreement with Edmentum, it's very clear expectations, like what your expectations are for everything from tech support to teacher turnaround when students have questions, grading of work.
Yeah,
making it abundantly clear who's going to own the end of course testing and all of that. So I know you probably know that already, but just don't leave any stone unturned, so there's no doubt who's responsible for what.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that's I don't want to mess her last name up. I'm sorry, Hilda, what she said. I've thought about the tech stuff, but I really I need to dig in a little bit more as far as turnaround time on those types of things. So point taken.
Okay, that's good.
I have an additional question. You mentioned You mentioned several times opportunities for your staff and helping your teachers grow. And this now being Edmentum's staff, how do you envision your staff, other than IT and what you've already mentioned, interacting with this cohort of students in a way that your school's charter and mission and vision and the things that you have on the screen here are continuous between the two?
Right. Great question. I think initially, I really feel like the first year, which is why if you look at the budget, you'll notice in the year 3 that the numbers change. And it's my hope that by year 3, the folks that we've had in the first 2 years working administratively, IT wise, exceptional education, I'm going to have a core teacher as well, just as support, because I think the more people we have trying to reach out to people to make sure everything's going well, make sure they're staying up on their work is important. And that will also give them an opportunity to kind of see how all of this works. There's a way with Edmentum to scale back. And then you can utilize courseware, but then you can utilize your teachers in there. So I don't have a great, this is how I want to do it, but I know that I want to learn it for a year or two and then figure out a way versus, based on what Edmentum offers, because they offer, like I said, almost a sliding scale of support, and how my teachers could potentially, if they're interested in teaching online classes or online electives or things such as that, how could we utilize this platform or the experiences we've had so that they're able to do that? Does that fit within the framework of what we're doing brick and mortar and that? So I don't have a great answer, but I know that's kind of where my headspace is right there as far as learning it and then figuring out teachers that might be interested. As I said, maybe they've been teaching for 20 years and they love different things about online courses, and they want to teach an online course. So is there a way for me to do that for them? So that's kind of how my thinking is. My guess is, fingers crossed, by year 3, if things are going real well, that we can figure out a way to have teachers, if they're interested in that, really take on the bulk of communicating with students and working with students and using the courseware that they have. So they have that curriculum piece done, and their responsibility is getting that curriculum to those students, communicating with those students in that online arena.
Any more questions from the board?
John, if there are no more questions, then the applicant has a 5-minute closing statement if they'd like one before you guys deliberate and vote.
Thank you for that reminder, Ashley. Yeah, so you have 5 minutes, Mr. Grainer.
Yeah, I'll try to be short. I don't want to be too repetitive, but like I said, I'm glad that last slide's up there. As I said, when I read through that, we've really tried very hard to kind of push the envelope as much as you can, so to speak. We try to do different things to reach people differently. And I'm a firm believer that the online apparatus, we see it in, as I've said, everywhere in education, figuring out how to learn that so that we can help our students the best. Maybe there's different ways to do things that might even be more engaging. Like I said, I hate that I don't have great answers for them, but I feel like that's where so many things are trending, that it's almost our responsibility to get into that arena and learn it so that we can figure out best how to help people, how to help students, give teachers opportunities, those types of things. So that's it. Thank you.
And thank you for answering our questions and for your presentation. Now it's time for us to deliberate, folks. Any comments from the board?
This is Bruce. I'm going to support this amendment request. I think it sounds like they've got a good plan from what I've read through it, and they're being cognizant of not trying to grow it too fast as well. That'll alleviate some of the maybe pain points and growth lessons you learn in growing a new program like this. They're partnering with a provider who's experienced all across the country to do this, and I don't have any further questions, and I'm going to support this request for this remote academy. It sounds like they're trying to keep it pretty geographically within their area as well, which kind of helps as well when you're getting it off the ground.
Yes, and it appears that they have a handle. They know exactly what they're looking for and will do.
Thank you, Hilda. Any other comments or questions from the board? All right, not hearing any. Let's go ahead and do roll call.
Did we have a motion?
Nope, you need a
Oh,
motion.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought I used, you know what I did is
I'll
I
do
took
it.
yours as the motion and Hilda's comment as the second.
That's fine. Let's make it official. I'll make a motion that we approve STAR's remote academy amendment request.
Now make it official as a second.
There you go. That's what I meant to begin with. All right, we have a motion and a second for this amendment for STARS. Ashley, let's go ahead and do roll call.
Stephen Gay,
Aye.
Bruce Friend,
Aye.
Hilda Parlay,
I approve.
Todd Godby,
Aye.
Eric Sanchez,
Aye.
Bart Danielson,
Aye.
Shelley Shope,
Aye.
John Eldridge,
Aye.
Alex Quigley.
Aye.
Okay, STARS, we will send you an official approval letter with some next steps and things to consider as you work on getting your enrollment started for that. Okay?
Will do. I appreciate it. Thank you all for your time.
All right. Bye, Wes.
Hey, good luck.
Thank you.
All right, our next request for remote charter amendment comes from Tillery Charter. Just as a reminder, they'll be giving a brief opening statement. They have some slides that they'll be sharing. There'll be discussion. They have an opportunity for a closing statement, and then there'll be a full deliberation and vote. So we should have representatives from Tillery Charter online, and we're screen sharing. So Tillery, you can start presenting.
Yes,
And we
ma'am.
will
Thank
forward
you.
the slides.
Thank you. I am Teresa Barber, the founding principal at Tillery Charter Academy. As you can see on the screen, we are a K-7 charter school in Montgomery County. We will move to K-8 next year as we just have started our enrollment and accepting students for the next school year. We currently have 231 students enrolled, and we're a classical academy serving actually 8 counties. So we feel the need for a remote academy would really benefit the counties that we're serving and the families that we're taking in and the students that are coming with that. So we can go to the next one. Our enrollment for this would look like year 1 through year 5, basically adding 5 students every year, which would be about 20 to 25% of the population for the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. So we started out as K2 and we've been adding those grades as we've been going along. So that would be our hope for the academy as we start to hopefully move on with the remote piece of it. And then what will this look like for Tillery? So we were able to see what a remote school would look like, obviously during COVID, which was difficult for us with that being our first year open, only having K2. But the more we had the remote academy happening or the online learning happening, some parents really started being interested in what would online learning look like? Is that something you're pursuing in the future? So we've always had some interest from parents and questions arise about it. So we've started to really do some research and put out some parent surveys to see what this would look like. We would plan to use our current curriculum, which is has complete online access and will continue to be utilized. So that is our CKLA, that's our ELA approach, and our Go Math. So like I said, everything for that is online, and it's actually free, the CKLA. So the students would continue using that platform and just stick with the curriculum that we are using. They would be in online classes, both live and with their teachers, and then they would have time to do their work offline when they're given their assignments, with the teachers being able to reach out to the students and the students being able to reach out to their teachers when needed. We would continue to use Infinite Campus for communication. We started that this year, and our middle school has gotten a really good hold of getting online, getting their assignments, having everything put in for the information that they need, and then really being intentional, the students being intentional about reaching out to their teachers for assignments and getting online to check their grades. So we would continue to use that. We would be using the teachers that we currently have at Tillery. We would be using our own in-house staff for education for these students, along with our EC department, which we are continuing to grow. So right now we have our EC director and teacher, and we're hoping to grow that into a director, a teacher, and a teacher assistant to meet those needs of the EC students that may or may not be in the academy. So with that being said, the teachers will be teaching our curriculum like I mentioned, so they will have all of their professional development the same as our brick and mortar teachers, and all of the training will be the same for that as well. And the parents will be able to continue to communicate with them like we currently do using our online platforms, our Infinite Campus messaging, our newsletters that we put out, and then our dojos and phone calls that we use for the parents and the teachers and the staff, along with the students. That will be the communication piece of it. The parents whose students are virtual students will obviously be able to still attend parent meetings, teacher meetings, be invited to all of our on-campus activities as far as parent nights or open houses, or any information that we're putting out with information regarding the school. We did put a survey out to see what this would look like for interested families, and over 70% of the families that we put it out to were interested. Some of their feedback was just saying this would meet the needs of their learners. This is something that they've been looking for. Obviously, they have more questions about what that would look like as far as scheduling. So we've built a little bit of a schedule for that. So if we move forward, we'll be able to let the parents know that this will be happening, and it will be a good opportunity for their students. As far as the education, Tillery has met or exceeded growth every year since we have been open and receiving our school performance grades. So our reading scores have improved every year from a D to most recently a C last year, and our math grades have gone up as well. That's still sitting at a high D, but we are showing improvement with that. So we're pretty confident that the curriculum that we're using that has the online platform and all of the materials will still be able to access and meet those students where they're at with their education for the learning that they're doing. Some of the parents just think this is a great opportunity. Even before putting out the application, they've been asking about it. So we wanted to move forward with the chance for a remote academy for the middle schoolers. I added a nutrition and transportation piece down there just because we do provide the students with lunch when needed if they're free and reduced, and we do provide transportation. So if there was ever a chance where students had to be on campus for something or an event that they wanted to attend, we would be able to meet those nutrition needs or let those students utilize the bus stops that we're using right now. One of the feedback concerns mentioned, if the students are doing their holiday musical, will they be involved in that? Or if there's a presentation that they're doing for their curriculum, can they be involved in that? And the answer to that is yes. So that's why we want to make sure we have all of those needs met for the students if they need it. So we'll continue to meet that. And like I said, move on with the training and the learning and using what we have in place right now, and then the Infinite Campus for the students. Some other points, like I talked about, are grades going up, meeting and exceeding expectations for the students and their test scores, and then just really reaching the needs of the students. So.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And the slide above, just before we go into questions, I have to say that when I saw the cursive, I kind of got some heebie-jeebie kind of. I mean, my third grade teacher draw those lines across the chalkboard, and I'm like, oh no, not cursive.
And we are teaching cursive at Tillery Charter Academy.
Nice.
So, yeah,
right,
that'll
nice.
still be part of the curriculum and what the students are learning. So.
All right, board, any questions for Tillery? Or comments that you'd like to make?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're Yeah, this is Stephen Gay. So this can be all done in-house, no third-party support.
That's
No.
correct. Yes, sir. Yep.
All right, and so your teachers are open to this because it's tough teaching a class online and in.
They are open to it, and depending on how many students we get and the budget, it would be an option to bring an extra teacher in for support if needed, depending on the students that we get and obviously the vote that we received today. So that's something else we'll look at as we continue to move on with the application. So.
Yeah, this is Mr. Friend again. That was Stephen. You kind of hit on the question I was going to ask. Is are you tapping into teachers who will now be teaching some students online, as well as their face-to-face students, or will you have somebody just solely dedicated to the online students? So sounds like you might grow into the latter if the numbers warrant it.
Grow into the latter if needed. That's correct. And then obviously when the teachers are teaching their core classes and the students are in the electives, they'll be logged on for that. They have breaks scheduled for when they need it, and then they'll have appropriate times to reach out to the teachers and for the teachers to respond to them. So the students will have that responsibility to log on at their scheduled time while the teacher is teaching, and then they can take their lesson from there and really just, instead of being in the classroom doing it, they're doing it remotely.
And this may be getting a little bit into the weeds and for us, but just curious. So will those teachers be compensated over and above what their regular responsibilities would be, or is this kind of tying into, same salary but just different?
It would tie into the salary, but my hope would be to compensate them for that, because it will be taking on some extra duties, obviously, without having the students in class and being able to meet the needs of the students. So as we, like you said, get into the weeds a little bit, we'll have to look at that with the teachers that are doing this for us.
And you mentioned students who have the opportunity to participate, as if they were a regular student at your school. Does that include like athletics, clubs, and things like that?
Yes, it would. We have some after-school clubs that the teachers run every now and then. We don't have any athletics yet, but as we build and look at those areas, that would be something that they could also participate in.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And with that participation, I wanted to go back a little bit to the educational piece. We do have interventionists on campus. That would also be something that the students are still able to utilize if the teachers see fit, for the ones that need either the enrichment or the remediation for the subjects that they're in, so they could still be able to be a part of that.
So this is totally virtual, right? Are they when they apply, are they choosing whether they want to be virtual or
they would, yes.
Face-to-face? Okay.
Yes.
So does Tillery have a waiting list right now?
We do not have a waiting list. We just, like I said, our enrollment is still ongoing and our applications, the acceptances are being sent out today. We had a waiting list last year in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade. And we were able to bring those students in based on the enrollment, the students who came, and the students who didn't. I anticipate a waiting list to grow as we continue to keep enrollment open and accept those applications. So.
Well, I may have asked my question incorrectly. Do you have a waiting list for students that are face-to-face?
No, not right now. Not right now in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
All right. The reason I asked that question is in case you had a waiting list and you had a kid that was accepted as a virtual, would they be able to choose, well, virtual's not working face-to-face. It seems to be better for me. I'm able to change.
The way we have it set up right now is if they choose the virtual option, they'd be a virtual student. If they choose the in-house option, they'd be a brick and mortar student.
And they can't go back or forth.
Right.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, I'm not hearing any. You guys have 5 minutes for a closing remark.
I think I've put everything, like I said in the slide. I just want to say, with the parental support that we have and the teacher support and the students who are engaged with what they're doing, I think this would be a good option for them from our surrounding counties. Some students are coming further. So I think if we have that option for the students and the parents can see that we're doing this with fidelity and really meeting their needs and hearing what they say after putting out the survey and listening to them over the last 3 and 4 years, I think it would just be very beneficial for the community and the students and the families that we're reaching.
Thank you very much for your presentation and for entertaining our questions. Now it's time for us to deliberate. Board, do you guys have any comments or further questions that you'd like to get answers to?
This is Bruce. I'm going to support this. I think it's, first of all, it's very small. And I like the innovative model as far as them doing it themselves, completely themselves. And easier to do that when you're smaller in a remote academy. But I think this is, I hope they're successful with it. I think that they have the opportunity to take a lot of the, you know, the curriculum they're already using and putting that into an online environment, tapping into the systems they're already utilizing their staff. So I think this is, has the makings of a nice little test case for a small virtual academy that is done completely in-house.
And I too like the in-house.
Any other questions or comments? All right, now here. Yeah,
hey,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Eric. I guess I'm wondering, when we're seeing the in-house data that they've had the last couple of years, does that cause any of our board members pause or concern to expand to a virtual?
Well, I will admit that I did let that pass through my mind. Eric, did we see comparability data? Like what, how is this school done? Ashley, is this, or maybe, yeah, there we go. How's the school done academically for the last few years? What was their last renewal?
Let me see if I can pull that up, Jen.
Yeah, this is Jenna. They did get a 3-year charter renewal in 2024. Part of that was due to, we did have missing data since they were a new school. So I believe, from what I remember, I can look back at their renewal, but I believe they had only 2 years of academic data that we were able to present to the board for their 2024 renewal, but I can get you those exact numbers.
That's
So
correct.
they're up for next year then.
Yes, they will be up for renewal in 2027.
So I mean, Eric, maybe that's a risk maybe that the school is taking on with regard to more data. And coming for renewal next year. I think that's something the school needs to keep in mind, is that, you know, focusing on the in-house data and making it stronger. Alongside virtual school data that will either help or hurt their chances for a longer renewal than 3 years.
This is Bart Danielson. I do have a question in that regard. I'm guessing, but I don't know. That's the reason for the question. I'm guessing that the performance of these online students is just going to be commingled with the face-to-face students when we get data for considering a renewal next time. Is that correct, or are we going to see something broken out for the online?
No, that's actually not accurate.
They'll break out.
But it's a great question. Yeah, when you get an approved remote academy, you get a completely separate school number for that remote academy. So when they do their testing at the end of the year, they'll have a accountability data and even a school grade for their traditional school, and then a separate one for the remote academy. Obviously, in a remote academy that is this small, you know, it might question how much testing data they'll actually have, but it will be 2 different accountabilities, one for each school number.
So let me ask this: going forward, will we be looking at renewals jointly for schools that have both, or are we going to look at them independently in separate years?
Well, that's another great question, Bart. I think that's something that right now the way it works is when you get an approved remote academy, it's getting its own renewal length that can be separate and different from your traditional charter. which we probably, and this is neither here nor there in terms of today's vote, I think, but I'll give you an example. My original charter for K through 8 is up for renewal in 2031 because we got a 10-year renewal. When I got an approved remote academy, it's not a separate charter. It is simply a separate school under the existing charter, but it was given a different renewal timeline. And I think what we need to look at is marrying that up, because in my opinion, it's just my opinion, it doesn't make sense. This is not a separate charter. It's simply another learning environment under the existing charter, but yet we're treating it like it is a separate charter when it comes to renewals.
I can imagine that it would be more efficient for everyone if schools could come in here and deal with, or if charters could come in and deal with all of the different teaching delivery methods simultaneously when they're getting renewal.
Yeah. You're 100% correct. And again, this is something we need to take on in terms of this whole, I think, remote academy process, because that's one of maybe 2 or 3 examples I can give you where the remote academy is not its own charter, but in some areas we're treating it as it is, and it just needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I mean, for school purposes,
sorry.
For school purposes, I like the fact that the data is broken out so you can see how your face-to-face are doing versus your academy, online academy folks. But as far as overall school data, I mean, it appears that it would make sense that it would be one set of data, not 2. For overall purposes of the grade. Is that what I hear you saying, Bruce?
No, the legislation that established remote academies made it very clear that it would be granted its own school number, and its data would. So I actually do, but there's a whole other reason for that. I mean, that would be the equivalent of a traditional district having all of its schools lumped together. Every school in Chatham County gets its own school grade, which is what this was set up to be. Yeah. I understand Eric's question too. I think it's a very fair question, and one that's worth considering. I'm comfortable with even making this motion because just the size is small. I mean, if this were a charter school that were struggling to serve its students face to face, and then was looking to have a very, very large remote academy too, I'd probably be digging in a little bit deeper. But I think I'm comfortable with the fact that it's small. It's almost like a pilot itself. That I do have that comfort level, even though I do appreciate Eric's question.
So is that your motion then?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we grant Hillary the opportunity to have a remote academy.
Hilda
We have a
Pelley,
motion.
second.
All right, Hilda's got the second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I posed that question because, I was on the NC report cards. Not only is the performance grade low, but 2 of the last 3 years, they've met growth by 3 points, meaning that they would certainly be on low performing. I mean, they're on that, they're closer to that than they are away from it. And I just, when you look at something like that, you wonder why give permission to spread their resources thinner by adding a whole nother program when the current program, for lack of a better word, just seems to be struggling or just isn't thriving as of yet. That's
Can I
my
speak in the discussion or no?
This is our discussion. So sorry, thank you.
Who was that?
That was the school leader asking if she could make comments, huh? So we have a motion, a second. That was Eric sharing his thoughts. Any other discussion for this motion? Okay, not hearing any. Ashley, let's do roll call. And the roll call is on the motion to support Tilbury's remote academy.
Okay. Stephen Gay,
Aye.
Bruce Friend,
Aye.
Hilda Parlay,
Approved.
Todd Godby,
Aye.
Eric Sanchez,
Nay.
Bart Danielson,
Aye.
Shelley Shope,
Aye.
John Eldridge,
Nay.
Alex Quigley.
Nay.
Okay, it passes 6-3. And Tillery, we will send you an official approval and then some things to consider as you think about next steps, just to make sure that it's aligned with what the legislation requires.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have any more? No. Okay. Okay. Well,
Closing remarks or updates from our director.
yeah, and this is really quick. We do have a new staff member, but I'm going to introduce her fully to everyone in person when we have our next meeting in March. But Tara Whitbread is joining us, taking Nikki's former consultancy role, and she will be working in stakeholder support and authorizing. So we'll introduce you in person in March. And that is all I have. We will see you for one day meeting in March, and I'll continue to update you between now and then.
All right, motion to adjourn.
So
Hilda
moved.
Parlay moves that we adjourn.
Who's the second? Todd Godby?
Yes.
Todd had second. All in favor?
Aye.
See you next time.
Aye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.